Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 Fraternity and Sorority Life Council Officer Installation Ceremony. Thank you for taking the time to celebrate our council officers and our newly elected chapter leaders with us today. Before we begin the installation ceremony, we would like to welcome Yesenia Mejia, Assistant Director of the Office of Multicultural Student Success here at DePaul, to share a few words with you. Welcome, Yesenia.
Hi, my name is Yesenia Mejia, and I'm the Assistant Director of Identity Conscious Support within the Office of Multicultural Student Success. I'm honored to be your keynote, but before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the land DePaul University stands on. So please take a moment to ground ourselves by acknowledging the harm and the impact that we as a nation have had on the Council of the Three Fires, the Potawatomi, Ojibwe, Yadawa nations. And we have also impacted the Sac, Fox, Miami, Ho-Chunk, and Menominee. My thoughts and prayers are also with the Black community who have lost loved ones due to police brutality and have constantly had to relive generational trauma. I'm sorry for those who have had family members that have passed due to COVID, and for those that have been impacted by the lack of healthcare access during the pandemic. I would like to recognize that the APITA community and those who have been harassed and harmed during the pandemic because of the xenophobic rhetoric and actions. I want us all to also center and advocate for those within the LGBTQIA+ community, as many of their rights have been revoked or challenged through policies and homophobic and transphobic acts of violence, and folks have also expressed harm. I would like to name our immigrant communities and communities of color that have been traumatized by inhumane policing, neglect, and incarceration, while also centering folks and peers who are disabled and may or may not be receiving accommodations or appropriate resources that help them reach their fullest potential. Thank you. Today's speech is not one that I would normally give to students about leadership. If I were to give you this speech in maybe the fall of 2020, I would be talking about being confident, being self-motivated, even maybe about being a little forward-thinking. But now I look at those three things and I realize that 2020 has shifted our leaders to be humanity-centered, and ask you to buy into this shift and trust that you have the cultural capital to be the leader your councils need, because they already do. The honor to have been entrusted by your peers should not be taken lightly. Leading your peers is a responsibility to stand up and address harm when that has happened, a responsibility to slow down when we are living in a collective trauma together, and a responsibility to create inclusive spaces when making decisions with everyone in mind. Together, as a group, you all will lean on each other's cultural capital and ask that you focus on building rapport with each other before you begin planning or even getting to business as usual. Practice having a humanities-centered approach with each other and within your councils so that you can bring that back within your individual organizations. Having this approach as a leader across your organizations will allow for each of you to see each other fully, to lean on each other as leaders should. There will be moments in making decisions where that will become overwhelming. Being overwhelmed can mean a couple of different things. It can mean that this is an area of growth for you. It can mean that maybe you need a little support, that you're taking on a task that is unfamiliar, that you're concerned, or maybe something else. So when you feel that, make sure that you're leaning on each other, maybe even using each other as soundboards like great councils do. So please ask each other the following questions when you're feeling overwhelmed. What is overwhelming about this situation? What is within my control? Do I have enough information to move forward? Do I need to have input from others? If I were to move forward with this plan, what are some adverse effects it may have? How can I correct any harm that I have may caused? I ask you to reflect on these because you already have the capital to move through difficult decisions. You have aspirational capital, familial capital, social capital, navigational capital, resistance capital, and linguistic capital. So the questions that I had asked earlier also acknowledge your humanity as a leader. So please remember that you're not a machine and that this is a reminder that we are all human. You will make mistakes, but we will grow through reflection. One of my biggest moments of reflection as a leader comes from 2020 and needing to sit with my class privilege, my ability to keep my job and work remotely and safely from home. And while crises would arise in communities around me, I would personally not be affected. And that alone called me to think about how I needed to sit with that as a leader. How could I acknowledge the humanity of my team and those around me? How could I pause, hold space for grieving, reflection, and at times also venting? Where could I take on additional work off from my team members? How could I give power to folks when they wanted to advocate for themselves and maybe not necessarily have me do the advocating? Being an assistant director is a new role for me, and I'm going to share something with you. I felt like an imposter, like I wasn't ready, and that someone was going to call me out at any point in time. I was very afraid to make decisions or say or do something that could harm those I cared about, which is how I came up with those questions that I shared with you earlier. I'm sharing a little piece of vulnerability to let you know that you will have the support of a village if you all agree to support each other. Be honest when you need something. Have the best intentions when we miss the mark and acknowledge it and try to do better. I would not be able to accomplish half of the things I do without the support of my entire department and all of our student employees. Without their feedback and help, especially when I drop the ball, which sometimes happens more than I'd like to admit. But because of them, I am successful. There are some specific individuals that make me a better professional and a better leader, and I want to share and acknowledge how those people do that. I'd like to thank my graduate assistant, Anna, for honestly making me a better supervisor and being my organized confidant who literally makes me think through everything through and through. Our STARS peer mentor team, who is amazing at giving me feedback and is very honest about what students want and need. Erica, who is a strong centered advocate for our students that identifies undocumented and asks what individuals actually need. Chris, our forward thinker who grounds us with a plan. Vanessa, who is always reminding us to be care-centered. Teresa, who shares resources and reminds us that learning is lifelong. Michael, reminding us of the importance of being intersectional in all the work that we do every single day. Mariela, for naming how we can think through and work a little bit differently. Corey, reminding us to think smarter, to be clear, and to move together. And Dr. Kimberly Everett for bringing us all together and being our fearless leader. As a department, we needed to learn how to lean on each other in order to accomplish our goals. We individually each see our different areas, but yet we rely on each other so that we can all work collectively towards our goals and becoming a more inclusive campus. This is a dream that we've all had within our office, which is kind of difficult but beautiful at the same time that we all have the same goal. And I would love for you all to feel the same way that I feel within our department, where you all get to move together as leaders and have individual strengths honored by each other and feel supported with unconditional regard. So please, before you all get to business, take some time to get to know each other. Maybe during retreat, having that be things that are silly, things that you share your strengths, things that you're really proud of, maybe you've never shared before, because you all have strengths, and then together you will move collectively, and I know that you're going to do an amazing job. And I know that because your peers already believe in you. Thank you.
Yesenia, thank you so much for your honesty and vulnerability and challenging our leaders to build a more inclusive community this upcoming year. At this time, we would like to acknowledge our incoming officers who will assist in leading our community over the next year. You have been elected by your peers among the 1,100 members to represent your respective council. This is a tremendous honor and privilege, and with that comes great responsibility.
Throughout your term, you'll be faced with challenges and opportunities. You have been called to become servant leaders for your community, listening to their needs and representing the community in everything that you do. You will be tasked with upholding the values of your organization and fraternity and sorority life as a whole, while expecting the same from your peers.
It is our hope that by this time next year, you will have taken the necessary steps to leave a legacy upon this community. This is an opportunity for you to develop as a leader and understand organizational leadership, have critical thinking skills, create an inclusive environment, demonstrate social responsibility, and take time for personal reflection.
We will begin with installing the men of the Interfraternity Council. President Jonah Benthusen, VP of Internal Affairs Ben Muntz, VP of Membership Recruitment Tyler Jasnick, VP of Standards Galen Dietz, and VP of Correspondence Cooper Ross. Please respond, "I do," to the following statements. Do you willingly accept your officer role with the Interfraternity Council, holding yourself to a higher standard, representing the community as a whole beyond your own organization?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Do you agree to provide programming and resources to assist in continuing member development, promoting a sense of unity among chapters, and provide the members of the Interfraternity Council a fraternal experience that complements the mission of DePaul University?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Do you agree to act with fairness and integrity, upholding the governing policies, and utilize your position to create positive change in the fraternal community?
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
Congratulations.
We will now install the members of the Multicultural Greek Council. President Ayana Guillen, Treasurer Michelle Liu, and not with us today are External Vice President Valerie Tafoya and Internal Vice President Mark Kraka. Please respond, "I do," to the following statements. Do you willingly accept your officer role within the Multicultural Greek Council, holding yourselves to a higher standard and representing the community as a whole beyond your own organization?
I do.
Do you agree to provide programming and resources to assist in continuing member development, promoting a sense of unity among chapters, and providing for the members of the Multicultural Greek Council a fraternal experience that complements the mission of DePaul University?
I do.
Do you agree to act with fairness and integrity, uphold the governing policies, and utilize your position to create positive change in the fraternal community?
I do.
Congratulations.
We will now install the members of the National Panhellenic Council. President David Rios, Vice President Treasurer Antiana Suter, Secretary and Marketing Secretary Sayla Estill, and Parliamentarian Kesri Wingate. Please respond, "I do," to the following statements. Do you willingly accept your officer role within the National Panhellenic Council, holding yourselves to a higher standard, representing the community as a whole beyond your own organization?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Do you agree to provide programming and resources to assist in continuing member development, promoting a sense of unity among chapters, and providing the members of the National Panhellenic Council a fraternal experience that complements the mission of DePaul University?
I do.
I do. I do.
Do you agree to act with fairness and integrity, uphold the governing policies, and utilize your position to create positive change in the fraternal community?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Congratulations.
We will now install the members of the Panhellenic Council. Vice President of Standards, Leslie Mejia. Vice President of Public Relations, Bailey Brown. Vice President of Operations, Madeline Lane. Vice President of Community Wellness, Bianca Dominguini. And not with us today are President Molly Adams, Vice President of Membership Recruitment, Gabby Sylvia, and Vice President of Programming, Amanda Zoyce, and finally, Vice President of Recruitment Counselors, Casey Koenig. Please respond, I do, to the following statements. Do you willingly accept your officer role within the Panhellenic Council, holding yourselves to a higher standard and representing the community as a whole beyond your own organization?
I do. I do.
Do you agree to provide programming and resources to assist in continuing member development, promoting a sense of unity among chapters, and providing for the members of the Panhellenic Council a fraternal experience that complements the mission of DePaul University?
I do.
I do.
Do you agree to act with fairness and integrity, uphold the governing policies, and utilize your position to create positive change in the fraternal community?
I do.
All right, congratulations, you all.
To all of our newly elected chapter leaders, we hope you will follow these guiding statements. To willingly accept your officer role with your chapter, upholding yourself to higher standards, and representing the community as a whole beyond your organization. To provide programming and resources to assist in continuing member development, promoting a sense of unity among chapters, and providing the members of your chapter a fraternal experience that complements the mission of DePaul University. To act with fairness and integrity, upholding the governing policies, and utilizing your position to create positive change in the fraternal community.
It is with great pleasure and hope that we welcome you as officers of the fraternity and sorority community. No honor is greater than being elected by your peers to serve them. As the leaders of the fraternity and sorority community, it is your duty to live out your fraternal values and exemplify the highest ideals of what a fraternity man and a sorority woman should uphold. You are the role models that the rest of the community will look to for guidance, strength, and sound judgment.
Today, you made a commitment to leave your council better than you found it, much the same you did when you took the oath when you were initiated. The time spent in office can be the most rewarding experience of your DePaul career, but it's what you make of it. Taking on a leadership role of over 1,100 students on DePaul's campus can seem like a daunting task. As you look at the other student leaders present here today, know that it is a task that can be accomplished successfully as a team, working together as one.
Take a few moments to think about the journey on which you are about to embark. Your peers chose you because they believe in what you stand for. It is now your duty to set a vision for your organization and ensure the work you do contributes to bringing that vision to life. Thank you all for joining us today, and we wish you the best in 2021. If you would like to receive an FSL sticker and be entered into a drawing to win one of 5 Amazon gift cards, please scan the QR code shown here to check in to the officer installation ceremony on DHub.